Hello, everybody. It's Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, of course, with my co-host Abe Safa, also with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. And we want to talk, a little bit more about the Myrtle Beach real estate market and what's going on. And before we get started, Abe, thank you again for joining.
Hey, Greg, always a pleasure.
Yeah, great. So I know we want to talk a little bit about inventory today. I don't know, some conversations about, what are buyers saying? What are they talking about right now? So what are you seeing in the market?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers this morning, there hasn't been much change from last week's report. So almost
Yes.
almost identical in numbers. The percentage of pending relative to what's on the market, really minimal change, not even worth discussing. So I don't want to bore everybody with the same numbers. The buyer demand is still weak out there. It's still, the way prices have appreciated over the last 3 years, with the way interest rates are, buyer demand is definitely softened up.
Yeah.
I think that's the big conversation really to have.
Yeah. And when we say buyer demand is softened up, I was actually speaking with a representative at Zillow.
Mhm.
And we were talking, and we were talking about buyer leads and buyer traffic, like traffic on their website. And they had mentioned to me that traffic on their website, people who are doing searches for properties, had definitely decreased. Um, and I don't think that's a Zillow thing, because a lot of people love to look at properties on Zillow. But I think if you went to all the websites, I bet you if you went to realtor.com or Trulia, any of those big websites out there that people do a lot of searching, you're going to see that traffic has decreased. And if traffic's decreased, that's an early sign that buyers are not necessarily losing interest, but there's a slowdown, or at least a decrease in the amount of people that are searching for real estate and eventually actually looking and writing contracts. But I did hear that from direct from a Zillow rep recently.
Yeah, and I think that goes above and beyond Zillow. I think it's across the board.
Yes.
Look, prices have gone through the roof. The last
Yeah.
3 years, prices have really gone up. And then when you couple it with the interest rates that we've had, I think the average home is costing anywhere between $500 to $700 more per month
Yeah.
right now than it did a year ago. Because of the interest rates. Now, what some people, and everybody's talking about that, what some people aren't talking about is also inflation when you put that into the mix. So
Yeah.
think about it. Your mortgage payment just went up $500 to $700 a month if you're going to buy a new home. Plus, your cost of living is up 9%. So there's not a whole lot of extra money around for people. And I think that's why I think a lot of buyers have just been pretty much priced out of the buying market for now.
Yeah. Yeah. There are, and I think the builders are also must know it, because, we're getting those incentives where a builder will say, hey, I got something I need to sell. I'll pay you an extra $10,000 in commission to sell it. Like anything they can do to get us to push push our buyer leads to their new construction. So that when, it's nice that they're offering those incentives, I guess, if you're a real estate agent, but we always have to ask, well, what does that mean? Like, why would they do that? Because last year they were actually saying, no, we're not going to pay you, or we're going to pay you less. Now they're saying, we'll pay you way more. So obviously things have changed even from their end. Their buyer traffic must be down for them. Are you seeing any numbers or any data that is supporting that? I know we see this in the field, but what are you seeing in the area of data?
Yeah, well, I mean, we see it. And the best number to look at when it comes to buyer demand is the pendings. What are we seeing with pendings? And when you look at single family home for last month, for the month of June, pendings were down 14%.
Mm-hmm.
Closed sales for the month of June were down 17%. So we sold 17% less homes, resale single family homes in June this year than we did last year. And then of course, one big number to look at is the number of showings. Okay, so that was down 27% last month. I think the average was 5.3 showings per listing is what it was for the month of June. Just to kind of put that in perspective, in February, that number was 8.3.
Wow.
So
Okay.
each listing was getting 8.3 showings back in February. Now they're getting 5.3. And this was as of June. And I think July numbers are going to be even lower.
Yeah, which a lot of times in our market, July numbers is a big showing month, because there's so many people that are in town, because of the seasonality of the marketplace. So a lot of times it's a heavy showing month. June and July and August for the most part, those 3 summer months.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. No doubt. It also explains why some listings are starting to sit on the market a little bit longer. I was talking to a seller this morning, and I was helping evaluate the pricing for 2 of their properties. And I saw that their one property, a comparable that I was looking at, had been on the market, and it had been on the market for 68 days. Now, I've been in multiple markets, so 68 days a lot of times is not abnormal. But in the last couple of years, 68 days, you start wondering what in the world's wrong with this property. Why isn't it sold in 6 days? It sits there in 68 days. Now, as a real estate professional, and I'm looking at numbers, and I'm seeing that there was one home in this community that sold for $300,000. Another one sold for $299,000. Now I see this one on the market at $299,000 and sitting on the market for 68 days. Like, what's going on here? The challenge that we're going to have in this situation potentially is that one seller that's at $298,000 or $299,000 could decide, you know what, I need to get it sold. So they end up reducing it to $294,000 and accepting an offer at $290,000, and that sets a new comp. Mm-hmm. Right. So this is how these things work, is as days on the market increase, eventually some seller decides, I'm frustrated, I'm just going to reduce and sell. And then once that happened, that sets a new comp, that influences the appraisal. It influences the buyer's future offers on other listings. And there becomes a softening in pricing. Now, I'm not predicting that we're going to have a crash by any means, but let's be real. These are the things that we have to be looking out for.
Yeah, that's a good point. And as soon as that seller reduces and sells at a new price, it's going to be a new benchmark, and then we go from there. But yeah, I mean, I don't, we don't want to paint a picture of doom and gloom here. Nope. The market is correcting. If you look at it, you took away the last 2 years, right? If you just kind of erase those from history, the last 2 years, what we had with the COVID and the way the market went nuts, and just compare this back to 2019 numbers, it's actually a good year. It's actually pretty decent. So the market's still good. It's just working its way back to a normal market. Before COVID, the average days on the market was 140 days. So yeah, it's kind of funny. You mentioned 68 days, and we're thinking, oh my God, that house is just not selling.
Yeah.
But and when you put it in perspective, 141 days is what it's been for the longest time. We're just kind of working our way back to some sort of normalcy, which some people think is a good thing. Now, some of you owners out there that are thinking of selling, look, it's not even across the board, right? We're talking overall general numbers here. There's still a lot of properties that you and I list, Greg, that are selling quick.
Yes.
Okay? And then there's properties that sit. So, I mean, each property is going to be unique. There's a lot of things to look at. You can't just look at, what your estimate is. You got to look at what the competition is for that type of property, whether it's a home or a condo.
It's not a one size fits all type of
no. Especially right now, as the market is shifting, there's still a lot of confusion out there amongst consumers. So there's a lot of variables to look at when you get ready to put a home on the market right now in this transition period. So it's really important to look at all the data before you make a decision on what agent you're going with, what price you're going to put at, and a marketing strategy. You've got to look at all the data right now in this current market.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I've got another property that I'm getting ready, should go on the MLS today. Mm-hmm. It's in a community called Hunter's Ridge. Yeah. And it's the $300,000 price point, right? I have a feeling that property is going to be sold by a couple days from now, 2 to 3 days. That property is going to be under contract, in my opinion. If it's not, then I'm concerned. But I will believe, or I do believe it definitely will be. I was talking to a group of agents just about 30 minutes before we started. We went live here. And one of the things that I mentioned to them, kind of to piggyback off something you just said, if we would erase last year and maybe the last 18 months, and we only were in this market, we would actually be declaring this as a hot market.
Yeah.
Like if would you agree, and you would know the number, but like from an inventory level, we are probably back early 2021 right now?
Yeah, I'd say early 2021.
Yeah. So the market's reversed to early 2021. But guess what we were saying in early 2021? It's a hot market.
Yeah.
So that it's very important to kind of see that. Like what's happening now is it's a changing market. And yes, the numbers are kind of trending down a little bit. It's a changing market. We don't really believe it's a crashing market. But the change it seems to be a big change. But this level just last year, everybody was screaming, this is the hottest market they've seen in years. So it's still extremely active. There's no doubt about it. Now, what would you be thinking though, if you're a seller and you're thinking, hey, I might want to sell, towards the end of the year, what does that conversation look like?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on why they're waiting until the end of the year, right?
Okay.
If there's certain stipulations where you just can't move until the end of the year, then look, that's what it is. But if you're thinking that, look, I want to wait and kind of see what happens with the market, and that's going to determine, but I can move now if I wanted to, then we really need to have a conversation about the trajectory of where the market's going.
Yeah.
Okay, and what people are saying. So the direction that we're heading, my opinion, based on these numbers, is the sooner you sell, the more likely you're going to get a higher price. Like if I was going to bet, we don't like to make predictions on here, but if I was going to bet, I would think that this trend is going to continue, because until we get a hold on inflation, okay, the Fed is going to continue to raise interest rates. So, and right now it doesn't look like we're getting a hold on inflation yet. So things are going to continue. Interest rates may go up a little bit more. So I'm not seeing any relief in sight when it comes to, okay, we're going to go back to where we were as far as let me get my home on the market and sell it in a matter of minutes. So in that case, I would be thinking, sooner rather than later. I wouldn't wait until the fall.
Yeah. Now, if I'm a condo owner, I think I would feel the same way. The other thing that I'm trying to get as many condo owners to look at right now is please go talk to your rental manager, look at your rental calendars and see what your bookings look like in August and September compared to last year. I mean, there's a rental manager that has told me that they project revenue. This is one rental manager said that they predict their rental revenue will be down around 20% this year. Okay. I do not know if that's an indication of the entire market. That was one rental manager that manages, however many they manage within their organization. But, a lot of buyers, when they look to buy property, they look at the rental numbers. And if they see declining rental numbers, a lot of times that inspires them to make less than a full price offer. All right. But if there's ever an area, or if there's any area that stands out when it comes to increasing in inventory, it's definitely the condo market. Oceanfront buildings is something that if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to wait till the end of the rental season to sell, please give us a call, because we have a strategy where you could actually have the property on the market, still get all of your rental income for the high season, and then have it sold and transferred to the next owner before it starts any kind of negative cash flow. So reach out to us. We can talk to you about that. Again, in any case, whether you have a home or a condo, it's not about you needing to sell. It's if you're wanting to sell sometime this year, please give us a call. We need to do an analysis and evaluate your property and your property type and give you the best advice. Sometimes we'll say, no, just hold tight. You're going to be fine. And sometimes we're going to say, hey, look, if it was my property, I might move my plans up a month or two, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point. Look at the rental numbers. Yeah, I'm seeing it across the board, down around about 20%. But, but last year was a record year, Greg, when it comes to rentals. Last year was an anomaly.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is do that, but also take a look at the inventory. Let's just say you own a condo on the oceanfront. Take a look at the inventory in that building now relative to what it was 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. Just look at those numbers. And if you don't have those reports, let one of us know and we'll gladly email you a report. But we're seeing some buildings now, there's 25 units on the market when 2 months ago there was like one. That's significant. So those are the things that really like sirens are going off in my head when I see stuff like that.
Yeah, because what'll happen in that building is eventually those sellers start competing with each other as to who's got the best price, and then that's when that starts happening. If that starts happening, is when prices start coming down. So, we want to create strategies for anybody that's thinking about selling and kind of help prevent you from being in that situation. But anyways, here's our information. Is our cell numbers. You could call us, text us. Please feel free to reach out if we can do anything for you. Again, I'm Greg Harrelson. This is Abe Safa. Thank you for tuning in, and please continue to tune in on a weekly basis. We'll bring the best information we can to you each week.
Enjoy it, Greg. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah.